Amanda. Welcome to Casual Space.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad I get to meet you. You have a very proud and very interesting uncle, Scott.
Yes.
So I'll share with everyone how we got connected. I think it's a great story. I went back to my alma mater at Loras College in Dubuque, Iowa, and I happened to meet your uncle, Scott, who was so just approachable, and he introduced himself. He has a new role there at the school. And as we got to say, pleasantries, what are you doing? What are you working on? And I told him I was just happened to be back giving a presentation at the planetarium. He said, "Oh, I have a niece who is an award winning writer." And he just went on and on. And then I went, "Wait, what now, Artemis? Wait, what?" And so, total just circumstance of getting to meet him and then introducing you. And here we are now. It's incredible.
Yes, what a coincidence.
Well, I'm really, really grateful because your story is amazing. So let's get right into it. And like I said, your uncle is just so proud. And he wanted me to tell you that he wants you to stop being so impressive.
Okay, thank you.
So, Amanda, you did something a while back that has come full circle now. And this was almost like, what, 2 years ago? So, help us, take us back to when you were 15. And I'd love to let's start with the moment when you found an essay competition. Where were you? How did you find it?
Yeah, so I found the essay competition on actually an email listserv that I had been on. So when I went into high school, I was looking for clubs and just ways to get involved, and there wasn't really anything in space or NASA or aviation. There wasn't very much.
Yeah.
And so one of the guidance counselors there suggested I be put on this listserv. And it's for NASA Nebraska Grant and F score. And they do all of these different webinars, mainly for educators, but they occasionally put up things for students and things like that. And so I'd been on the listserv for maybe 3 or 4 months, and I just went through the monthly newsletter that they emailed me, and I saw the competition. And what struck my attention was obviously the grand prize. The grand prize was a trip to the Artemis 1 launch,
Oh,
and I just could not pass it up. I thought it was too good. It was a simple essay about 350 words, and I just decided to go for it right then and there. And that was early December of 2020.
oh my gosh. Okay. So had you always loved space and you just wanted to get involved and you were looking for this opportunity and you were on this listserv, but even in grade school, were you loving space?
Yeah, so when I actually remember the exact moment that I fell in love, like, with space.
Really?
And I remember I was in second grade,
Second
and
grade.
we were in the science unit, and we were learning about the solar system and the earth and the seasons, super basic. And I remember looking at the board in front of me, and it had the earth and the different seasons and the diagram of the earth going around the sun. And I remember at that moment thinking, I love this. I love space. I don't know what it is about it. It's so cool. And then as I progressed in grade school, I remember in third grade, I was obsessed with these solar system flashcards that were in the classroom. And I made a mini book that I still have from when I
Wow.
was in third grade.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then all the way up until fifth grade. And I just loved astronomy. I was really into the stars and the planets and everywhere in the universe. I was super excited about it. And then as I progressed more into grade school, and I started getting older, I started becoming more involved in more advanced math and science classes. And when I was in sixth grade, I did a project about the Apollo 17 moon landing.
Oh,
And I realized that I still loved astronomy, but I really loved the engineering behind all the spacecraft. And I remember looking at the rover and the moon landing and the moon lander and the rocket ship all together, and I just fell in love with it. And all of my life, I realized that I'd always been building with Legos or building things or doing crafts. Like,
oh,
and so I decided kind of mid middle school and eighth grade that I wanted to do something with engineering and combine that with my love of astronomy and space.
oh
And
my.
so, um, and also at that time, I had an older brother who went into aerospace engineering. And so I
Mm.
got to see, as he progressed through college, I got to see what that field was like and what he was learning and how he went through it and how much he liked it. And he went more the aeronautical path into planes and things like that. But I really loved the astronautical part of aerospace engineering. And so my plan is right now, as a junior, is to go into aerospace engineering as my degree in
Wow.
college.
Wow. Whew. And that all started when you were 7 in 2nd grade. Holy
Yes.
cow. What a moment. That's incredible. It's so great to meet someone who has that moment so early on and stays true to the love that you felt in that moment. That's amazing. You talked about your brother. You have quite a large family. Were there other either teachers, parents, or people along the way who either like gave you that encouragement or gave you some doors that you could open? Who was along that path?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I have to say my parents. Especially my mom, she pushed me into sometimes math classes or science classes that I wasn't really sure I was ready for. But
Oh,
I got into them and they were amazing, and like I loved them. And when I was in fifth grade, I started participating in something called Math Counts. And it was a summer program, and I did that during that summer after my fifth grade. And then I competed for my school that following school year. And then I did it again that next summer, and I just kept doing it until I grew out of it because it was a middle school program.
okay.
And now I have the privilege of being a mentor for it. And so every summer I come back and I help mentor the kids during this program, and it's
Oh,
so much
great.
fun.
Oh, I bet they
But
love having you.
yes, and so another huge role model was the math counts leader. Actually, her name was Mrs. Katopka, and she was amazing. And I remember not feeling very comfortable to compete, and I was really nervous and things like that, especially with math, because math had always been something I really liked and something I was good at, but I'd always been a little bit afraid to put myself out there in
Yeah.
math
Yeah.
and so I she pushed me and she encouraged me, along with my eighth grade math teacher who had at the time been the coach for my eighth grade team that we took. And just both of those two people were huge in just getting me through middle school and helping me realize that math and science aren't something to be afraid of and something to showcase if you're good at them.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So I'd like to go back to that's wonderful. Kudos to the teachers, the parents, and the counselors, everyone along your path that encouraged you and saw that talent in you. I want to acknowledge them first. And now go back to your essay. So you discover this and it sparks you. What's next? What happens after this?
Yeah, so that happened in December of 2020 when I first found out about it, and I went for it. I submitted my essay, and the next stage of the competition was to be a semifinalist. And so they would choose one person from each state and or territory. and they let you know through a live broadcasting in March. So in March is the middle of the school day, and I went down to my guidance counselor's office, and we were able to watch the live broadcast. And as they went through the names of who had won each state, I saw that for the state of Nebraska, my name was there. And so that was incredibly exciting.
I
Super
bet.
exciting.
Oh,
I was through the roof. And part of that stage was that you got a virtual reality set along with some other NASA swag and merch, which was really,
nice.
really fun.
Yes.
So that was the next.
What was on the set? Was there anything downloaded already on the
Uh,
virtual set?
there wasn't anything downloaded already, but they gave us multiple links and things that we
Ah,
could do. So
cool.
one of them was like a virtual tour of the Kennedy Space Center or different things like that. So it was very, very cool. And I still have it and use it today.
That's
And
awesome.
so it's just so much fun. I've been able to explore so much with it.
Is it like an Oculus?
Yes,
Oh,
it's an Oculus Quest
okay.
2.
Oh, cool. So my son
Yeah.
has one, and I think I've tried several times. It might be on there now to download the ISS tour. Have you seen
Yes.
that? I
Yes.
hear it's fantastic. It is?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
I've
it
got to go
is.
check this out
It's
because,
amazing.
okay, very cool. Very cool. Okay, so you find out that you win the state of Nebraska competition part. And so
Yes.
now are you competing against all national applicants?
Yes. So, and this was a ninth through 12th grade division.
Okay.
So overall, K through 12, at the very beginning, there had been 14,000 entries,
Wow.
um, worldwide. And so
Oh, worldwide.
yes, most of them
Ooh.
were national, but there were a couple people from Brazil and different other countries who found out about it and decided to send in essays. And so that was really cool. And so after that, to make it to the finalist round, they were only going to choose 3 people out of the 52 essays that they chose for
From
the
each.
semifinalist round.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my
And
word.
so, yes, there were 52 semifinalists, and then they were only going to choose 3 to advance. And when I found out about that, I was in Colorado
Okay.
visiting my older brother, and I was actually playing a game of soccer with my siblings on a soccer field. And my mom gets the call, and they tell her that I was one of the finalists, and I just remember her calling me over and us being so excited.
Mhm.
It was just incredible because I was not sure if I'd get it to that round because I remember looking at all the other ones, all the other essays that had been posted online and things like that. And I was like, there is no way I'm gonna make the cut. There are so many amazing essays here. I can't even say enough good things about them. And when I got the call about it, it was an insane experience.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
so now you're out there playing soccer, you get the call, and what happens from here?
Yeah, so after that, so there were 3 finalists,
Down to
and
3.
yes, and we all 3 of us had won a trip to the Houston Johnson Space Center. And so I actually took that trip last summer, and it was so cool, so much fun.
Oh,
Um,
okay, what was your favorite part?
Um, I would say seeing the mission control room. We were able to see the mission control room from the 60s. And then we were also to see it compared to the ISS control room today. And those were my 2 favorite parts. They were amazing. It was so cool to be there.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, and
That's
so
pretty cool.
yeah, so that was kind of the finalist round. And then from there, all 3 of us were going to be interviewed in late April.
Okay.
And so April of 2021, I was interviewed by representatives from NASA and from Future Engineers, which was the organization that led this.
Okay.
And they interviewed me, and I remember being super nervous.
I bet.
It was very nerve-wracking.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they interviewed us, and there were a couple astronauts as well on the call. So it was an amazing
Do you remember who
experience
they
in an
were?
interview. I do not, not off
Oh,
the
that's
top of my
okay.
head, but yeah, they were amazing. And so I had that interview, and on May 19th of 2021, it was a lot quieter than the semifinalist announcement, but that night I got the call that I had won, and Deanne Bell, the director of Future Engineers, called to congratulate me, and it was I was ecstatic.
Wow.
It
Oh,
was
Amanda,
incredible.
what a journey. Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations. That sounds like that was quite a long ordeal. Lots of corners to turn, lots of finalists getting it whittled down. You wouldn't happen to have your essay right in front of you, do you?
I do.
Okay, we would just love to have you read it in your own words. We're all going to settle in and enjoy this award-winning international competition and your own voice. So please take it away.
Yes. All right. Dream big moon pod. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. I jerk backwards as 10 million pounds of thrust launch me skyward. An adventure of a lifetime is about to begin. Dream big moon pod touches down on the lunar surface at the edge of Shackleton Crater. My crewmates, Sylvanus, a chemist, and Neptune, a hydrologist, and I have traveled 250,000 miles to install and program EER, the endothermic electrolysis reactor, which will provide a source of fuel and oxygen for future lunar pioneers. Through the process of electrolysis, EER collects, filters, and splits water molecules using a tubal filtration system 10 feet below the lunar surface. By separating the hydrogen and oxygen, EER will provide fresh supplies of breathable oxygen for future landings. Hydrogen will be converted to fuel so that rockets will have a readily accessible source of refueling. Then it will store the finished products in pressurized tanks. My name is Luna. I am the mission commander, the pilot, and an astronautical engineer. I designed EER, and my role is to direct the effort and test the reactor. Sylvanus, a chemist who specializes in splitting molecules. Neptune's expertise is in isotope and groundwater hydrology. Using our comprehensive and diverse skill set, we will provide a practical tool that will change lunar exploration forever. We unload EER from the moon pod and drive to the center of the crater. We lodge it into the surface and begin testing. Suddenly, there was an implosion in the conversion to fuel compartment. The base of the compartment is fractured. No longer capable of conversion, I redesigned the pressurized fuel tank into a converting structure. I then used an extra oxygen tank to substitute as a fuel tank. Finding no other structural flaws, I programmed the EER to be operational for 5 years. 3, 2, 1, liftoff moon pod.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. What was your inspiration behind the essay? Did they assign you to go set out and design something that would include engineering, or did you just kind of come up with this and had this thought? Tell me how it got inspired.
Yeah, so the entire purpose of the essay was to, and this was set by Future Engineers who sponsored the contest, and they said that it had to be about a moon landing, and it had to be one where we would have bring an adventure of a invention of our own, and crewmates, and a diverse skill set
Okay.
to the moon.
Yeah.
And so my 3 people that I talked about were Sylvanus, Neptune, and Luna.
Great
And
names.
Sylvanus and Neptune obviously came from Greek mythology, and I kind of drew that because Greek mythology and the Greeks and the Romans were a lot of the ones who started the astronomy efforts. And so I thought that was a really cool aspect to include in my essay. And then Luna comes from the Spanish word for moon. And that's really important to me because my dad is from Guatemala. And so all my family speaks Spanish. And it's just a super cool aspect of my culture.
Love
And
it.
so those were the inspirations for the names. And then their occupations, a chemist, a hydrologist, and an astronautical engineer, were just based on what future lunar exploration would need. And I really tried to make my essay about necessity and what it would be like in the first few moon landings that would happen. And so Luna, I modeled after my hopeful self, maybe someday. And the other two were really cool to invent and
Yeah.
be able to interact with Luna. And so, and then my invention, the EER, actually came from, the inspiration was from the ISS. And I know that the ISS has a lot of advanced technological systems to be able to have the astronauts breathe and work in space. And so I tried to make one that was customized for the moon. And what, again, rockets and rovers or astronauts would need when they got to the moon.
Wow. I love that in the story, you had to overcome a challenge and something goes
Yes.
wrong. It's not, I mean, what a perfect story, because that's exactly, I think, how I would imagine things are going to happen as we go and explore and get to the moon. I wanted to also ask you, so what a great, thank you for walking us through the story. Um, when you sent it, did you feel like this is it? How did it feel when you were done? Like, did you feel like I cannot add any more? It's perfect. I don't know if it'll win, but it just like, what were your feelings when you were done writing it? Were you just like, that's a great, great story to share?
Yeah, I was very I was very I don't know how to say it.
Confident?
Confident
Yeah.
about how I did. And I think when I designed all of it, I included all the elements I needed to include, and I included some of my own. And that's what I loved so much about it, is that it not only reflected the competition, but it also reflected me and my outtake on what a future lunar landing might look like. And so,
Wow.
yeah, I was very happy with what I came up with. And I think I was most excited after that interview I had later on. And I think that's when I knew that I had done everything I absolutely could have. There was
Yeah.
nothing else. It was not in my hands anymore. And whatever happened, happened.
So, what a unique journey from being interviewed by astronauts and leaders at NASA to, writing and producing and creating the essay. Had you ever done anything like this before?
No, so I it had been the first time that I'd ever
Wow.
done anything like it. And you know, sometimes opportunities come across and you just can't pass them up. And I had a feeling about this one, and um I just, when you know, you know.
Yes, yes. When you have a feeling, it's like something unique inspires you and guides you along that you're just like, you feel really connected and you're like, okay, so I'm going to take this as far as it can go and just see where it goes. Um, for you to find this and get into it so early on, it's been now the years have passed. You found out you won. Were you able to go to the launch?
Yes.
Did
So this
you?
past, yes. And so this past summer, I wasn't able to go to the actual launch here in November, but this summer I went down to Florida to watch I stayed there for a week, covering
Okay.
the first two unfortunate scrubs.
Uh-huh. I
And
think we were
so,
there at the same time.
yeah, maybe.
Wow. So what did you get to see launch?
Well, I wasn't able to see it, any rocket at all, unfortunately,
Oh,
launch,
darn.
but I did have the privilege of meeting 12 astronauts who were part of the astronaut class of this year.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and that I would say probably topped off the trip.
That's pretty
That
cool.
was towards the end, and I got to meet them. I got pictures with them. I got their autographs.
Oh,
I got to
that's
talk to them
amazing. Did
about
anyone
their
stick out
journey.
in your
I would
mind?
say the most that stuck out with me was her name was Anne. I can't
Anne
remember.
McLean.
Anne McLean. Yes.
You met Anne McLean. That's
Yes.
amazing. Oh,
Yes.
she's so
Anne McLean.
great. That's wonderful.
Yes.
And others. I mean, they're
Oh,
all
yes. They
fantastic,
were
but
all incredible.
oh, wow.
Really, really cool stories to hear about them being on the ISS or them being in training and what was the hardest and what was the easiest parts. But yeah, it was all very, very cool.
What a journey. Oh my gosh. This is so exciting. Okay, so then Artemis does launch, and we know that your story is on board on its way to the moon. How does that feel? It's kind of
Oh,
worth a brag.
yeah. Um, when I found out that my essay would be going on the Artemis launch, it made that connection to the launch ever more inspiring and exhilarating. And so I think, I'll always have a connection with the Artemis 1 launch for the rest of my life. And
I
it was just,
bet.
it was incredible to go through this entire process.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what's next? So now Artemis will return. You'll have something that officially has gone to space and back. But you are on quite a journey. Is engineering, are you going to be obviously as a junior starting to look at schools and programs? Or do you think your path will change between now and then?
I think that aerospace engineering will probably be the thing for me.
Okay.
I think as I'm looking at schools and programs and other different things, like right now, I'm a dancer. I've been dancing since I was 4. And I've also been looking at getting a minor in dance. And
Awesome.
so I've been looking at those two things for a while now, and I have not decided on a college or anything yet, but I'm just looking and preparing, taking all the tests I need to,
Oh, I love it. What kind of
everything.
dance do you love most?
I actually, so right now I do pretty much all different type of dance.
Okay.
I do ballet, jazz, hip hop, contemporary, modern,
Wow.
lyrical, tap, everything. And
That's
so,
amazing.
yes. And so my favorite right now though is probably tap and jazz.
Wow.
I love those two genres. And I can really see myself excelling in that later.
Okay, so wherever school you end up's got to have a dance program, clearly.
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna laugh, and I totally give you permission to laugh. But last year, was it during COVID? It must have been. And I forget where we were, but the street did one of those, they call it like a mob performance or something where everyone just comes out of the woodwork and starts dancing, right? Is that what
Yeah.
it's called?
A flash mob.
A flash mob, thank you. So everyone, we were in town, we were in our town, and all of a sudden the Thriller music came over a system and zombies came out between the crowd and just started the Thriller dance in the street. And I was so
Oh my
taken
gosh.
by it, and it was just such a cool, fun moment. And we were just caught in this flash mob enjoying it because they were in costume and then they did the dance. And I found out that the local dance company sponsors every year for you to come and try out because these were just folks from town who got to
Wow.
learn that I know. So I'm like, next year, I'm going to do it. So I
For
did it.
sure.
I did all the lessons. I went to every single week of, like learn the dance. I chickened out and I did go to tryouts, but I did not try out because I missed 1 week. And you know what happens when you miss 1 week? You miss a lot. So there was a lot of parts I still missed and I've never been so scared and so embarrassed. And so, I mean, kudos to you as a dancer, but I laughed at myself and I'm at that age where I was just like this is never going to be my thing. It's just not my thing. And I look back now at like I recorded myself a couple times hoping to get like the dance steps so I could see them, watch them and learn. And what ended up happening is just me watching myself laugh at myself and do everything but the dance steps that they were teaching.
Oh my
So
goodness.
maybe you can help us, Amanda. I can see it now, like dancing in space or learning, something from dance that combines with engineering. This will be great because a lot of us, like me, we can't, we have no rhythm whatsoever.
Yes.
Well, oh my
Yes.
goodness. So as you continue to like go through your classes and get excited, I'm sure NASA's going to be keeping in touch with you. And now that you've met the astronauts, you'll be able to really follow their journey and their path because they are the next generation of Artemis astronauts. So you've really been able to meet some folks who have had such an incredible pathway, getting them closer and closer to our goal of going back to the moon. So I mean, that in and of itself, just knowing that you could probably text them or email them or reach out to them and refresh them on who you are and your path coming right behind them must be such a gift.
Yes, it is. And I have been keeping up with some of their journeys and where they're going, and it's just been super cool. Super cool.
Oh, and that's how astronauts are, right? They want everyone who's interested to learn and follow and support because they need support too. We all do. We're all human.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh. Okay.
exactly.
So you've got a few things ahead of you, but let's have a little fun here because I love that your journey has been so focused and directed, and you're just such an achiever and you're just so fantastic. But now I want to take a little turn and have some fun. If you could fly to anywhere in space or beyond low Earth orbit, where would you go?
Well, I one of the places that has always really fascinated me, and I don't know why, maybe it's the really cool name, but I've always wanted if I could choose, I would fly to the moon of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons.
So
And
cool.
I think there's just something about it, and it being right next to Jupiter, it's just there's something so cool about it. And I know that NASA is very involved in Europa and looking at the different opportunities that maybe someday astronauts will be able to go there
Yeah,
someday.
maybe
And
so.
so, yeah. And so, yes, if I could fly anywhere, I'd go to Europa.
Oh, that's cool. Super cool. Okay. If you could bring one thing, what would you bring?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I I would bring a family member so that I am not lonely.
Oh, that's good.
Somebody,
Fantastic.
I would bring someone else, someone maybe someday I'll get married or anything else, or maybe to bring another student or somebody else, or a daughter or son, or you never know.
I love
And
it.
so
You're plus
yes,
one.
yes,
I was thinking a dog. I thought maybe she would say maybe you'd bring a pet. I would for sure. But a human sounds like better, maybe better. Very
yeah.
cool. And then if you could only eat one thing from now until you get to Europa, like that one thing, what would that be?
Mm, I would say cinnamon ice cream. I love cinnamon ice cream.
How
I
specific.
I don't know why. Or maybe ice cream in general.
Okay.
I just love cinnamon ice cream or ice cream in general.
Love
So
it.
if I could eat one thing and my health didn't matter,
Yeah, that's
then
it, right?
it would be ice cream.
Oh, I love it. Okay, that sounds good. I like where we're going, who we're going with, and what we're going to be eating. This is fantastic. I like this a lot. Okay, now there's going to be so many people who are listening who are in your shoes. They are maybe in a place where science or space is not a resource or not something they can just take classes in, or it's just not maybe on the coast where things are happening in this industry all the time, um, like Nebraska, where you have to kind of get somewhere or travel somewhere to get to a planetarium or a science museum. There's a lot of students who are also right there in high school who are probably starting to think like, I'm not sure what I want to study, or I'm not sure what is available to me. What advice would you give students who were right there in your shoes as well, looking to find their adventure?
I would say go for any opportunity that presents itself to you, even if it's a small thing. Even if you see this very small, maybe scholarship opportunity, or you see something else, just go for it because you never ever know what is going to happen. And that's what happened to me. It fell into my lap and I had to decide what I wanted to do with it. And so always go for the opportunities that present themselves to you, even if you're unsure or you don't believe that you're good enough to win it or anything, or if it's a competition or anything like that. Just go for it. And I know that a lot of students or high schoolers have access to technology or social media. So if you see anything that even sparks a little bit of interest, just go for it, no matter what.
That's great advice. I really like that. And sometimes you just have to be brave and do that because you're right. You never know. I mean, you beat out thousands of applicants. And I bet at some time, in some moment, even though you knew this was the spark and you wrote it, you were like, well, let's hope and see where it goes. And there was probably a moment of like, could or could not, but you did it. You tried. And look where it landed you. I mean, someone had to win, and yours was the one.
Yes. I am so grateful to be able to be that person.
Yeah, you certainly take your own advice. I mean, there it was, and waiting for you to put in the application. So that's really good. I'm glad that you're encouraging others to do that. And I'm also glad you mentioned, even if it's small, because it's in those small steps you learn about who you are and what you want. I mean, if you really think about it, it's like sometimes if you don't win or if you don't get the result you were looking for, you're like, but I still tried. And that was a big step, a big
Yes.
part of the journey. So well said. Very nice. Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
we've covered so much here. This has been great. You've got a little bit of a year ahead of you. And even though you've got a great path and big goals, what's next in the next coming months? Like, are you looking forward to Christmas, Christmas break? Are you driving? Are you starting to drive? Do you have your license?
Yes. So I've been driving for about 6 or 7 months. And so this will be my first winter driving,
Ah,
which is a little scary. But yeah, I'll be driving, continuing to dance. Christmas, I love Christmas because my big family gets to come all together and we all spend tons of time together. And I really love that. And coming in the spring, so for dance especially, I compete, and so I'll have many competitions
okay.
coming up. So very busy with that. And then for space related, I guess, I am on a board. I have been for about the past 2 years called Million Girl Moonshot, and it's the advisory board here in Nebraska. And so I'll continue to participate in that.
Good.
I have been for
Good.
the last year and a half now. And so I'll continue to participate in that, and then just take advantage of anything else that presents itself to me.
That sounds good. I love this. Dance, having fun, driving, the holidays, the chaos of big family. I love it all. One last question. When you become an aerospace engineer and you get all the things that you design and put together, will you please hire me?
I will.
Okay.
You'll be the top of my list.
Okay. I would be honored to work for you. I can't wait to watch you on your journey. That's really what I'm intending to say here is that I can see you going big in a big way. And you've just been so kind in helping others and encouraging everyone, especially females in STEM, to take that risk and take that chance and write that essay and put yourself out there and do it. So I'm going to do that and follow your advice in about 10 more years once you get that job, and then I'll give you a call. Deal?
Deal.
Oh, well, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today. We'd love to have you back. So, as you get settled into your program and your schools and your next adventures, will you come back and give us your update?
I will, for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.